Colonel Brackey, Colonel McMahon, Vice Consul Bernardo, Mayor Yarborough, members of the Maywood Bataan Day organization, all the veterans organizations out there, distinguished visitors, ladies and gentlemen. Colonel McMahon, I want to thank you for extending this invitation to speak at this momentous event. It is truly an honor and privilege to be here with you, your organization, and the community of Maywood. On behalf of my fellow warriors, I want to thank you for the outstanding support you have given the men and women that wear the uniform. When I'm out in the public with my uniform on, ordinary Americans will come up to me and thank me for what I do. However, in all honesty, it is truly an honor and privilege to serve you, the American people. Before I begin, I would like veterans in the crowd to please stand and be recognized. All the veterans out there, please rise. We are the greatest country in the world today because of the sacrifice you made earlier in your life. Thank you for your service. A generation ago, men from this Maywood community answered the nation's call to duty in an era of uncertainty. Men like Private Charles Peterson, who I'll have the distinct honor of awarding the Bronze Star Medal to his sister for his exemplary performance of the duty in the defense of the Philippine Islands. A long-awaited award finally recognizing his sacrifice and devotion to duty. When the men of the 33rd Tank Company, later redesignated as Company B, 192nd Tank Battalion, was called to active duty in 1940 for what many believed to be a one-year tour, little did they know what lay ahead of them. After a year of intense training, the men of Company B deployed to the Philippine Islands as part of the overall defense plan of the island. After Pearl Harbor was attacked on December 7, 1941, the men of Company B took the task of defending the island and engaged the enemy day in and day out. Although outnumbered and outgunned, the men of Company B fought the Japanese forces with valor and distinction for several months, until finally surrendered to the Japanese in the Bataan Peninsula. It was there what eventually became known as the Bataan Death March started. The entire march to Capitano was approximately 70 miles. Along its route, soldiers were executed for a variety of reasons. Many men of Bravo Company paid the ultimate price in the defense of the Philippines. Of approximately 100 members that sailed for the Philippines, 56 would not return. As a Filipino-American, I can never say thank you enough to the sacrifices made by the American soldiers in the initial defense of the Philippines and the subsequent liberation in 1944 by American forces under General MacArthur. To any surviving Bataan veterans or their relatives in the audience, I want to personally thank you for what you have done and what you have endured. Young Americans today are doing the same thing that their grandfathers or great-grandfathers have done before them. That is answering this nation's call to duty when needed. The soldier in today's Army are every bit committed to the security and freedom of our nation as soldiers of yesterday. They know what is at stake and they will not fail you. We as an Army have a non-negotiable contract with the American people. That is to fight and win their wars. We will win in the battlefields of Iraq and Afghanistan, not because we have to, but because we will not let the American people down. Our nation is truly blessed by young Americans that continue to stand up and take action. The young Americans that make up the Army today come from different backgrounds, ethnicity, and religion, but they all share a common desire to serve our nation. In my book, they are the genuine heroes of our nation, not the movie star or the overpaid athletes that you read about in the newspaper or you see on TV. The soldiers of today's Army are on point for you and I. I'm currently the commanding officer of the 1st Battalion, 178th Infantry Regiment. I can tell you that I'm very fortunate to command such a fine group of soldiers, ready and willing to do their part in the defense of our nation. Let me also tell you that my soldiers will live up to our contract with you and not fail you. 2 months ago, on July 3rd, I was conducting a deployment ceremony for one of my rifle companies going to Iraq. If you've never been to a deployment ceremony, take the time to do so. It is a very moving and emotional experience. one that you will not regret. If you watch the news and what's coming out in Iraq today, you would think we're losing the war. That's far from it. Do not think for 1 minute that we are losing this war. We are making a difference in Iraq. Just any soldier who had recently returned from Iraq for their opinion, like Captain Townsend, my S1 here. I can tell you that they will paint a different picture from what you hear in the news. You know, I wonder if any major networks were in Normandy on June 6, 1944, with the outcome of World War II would be any different. The President of the United States has already indicated that this will be a long war, not something that will be won overnight. We in the military understand this. However, do the American people understand this? The center of gravity for any military operation that the United States undertakes is the American people. The enemy knows he cannot defeat the U.S. military in the battlefield of Iraq. However, he knows that he can break down the will of the American people. It gives him a ray of hope. The war will not be lost by our warriors in the battlefields of Iraq, but rather in the living rooms of the United States. To put the Iraq conflict in perspective, the British counterinsurgency campaign in Malaysia ran from 1948 to 1960, 12 years to defeat the communist guerrilla. The U.S. Army's own campaign in the Philippines in the early part of the 20th century lasted approximately 12 years. We are in the third year of the conflict, but we are already seeing an erosion of the will of the people. We must have the patience to fight and win this war. There are no other options available for us. As Colonel McMahon alluded to, tomorrow is the 5th anniversary of September 11th. Let's take a moment to remember the Americans that we lost in the day and the 2,600 American servicemen who have gone before us. I want to conclude with one of my favorite quotes by a military leader, a quote that I put in every briefing slide to remind my soldiers of their sacred duty. And this is a quote from General Patton. Wars may be fought by weapons. They are won by men. It is the spirit of men who follow and the man who leads that gains victory. Ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you that we have the warriors that will win this war. Thank you for your time, and God bless America.